Welcome to OTR, Over the Rainbow, Achieving Mental Health for Real. This podcast is designed to help with your recovery from any mental issue you are up against.
The Rainbow.
The show strives to give you information that really, for real, works. The podcast interviews real people that have recovered or are managing their mental health. We also talk to people that offer suggestions and coping mechanisms you may want to try. Bob Adelman, the host of OTR, shares his 50 years of struggles with mental illness and the techniques of recovery. He is still on his journey, as you can hear in the episode called Perfect Storm: Fighting Demons. So, help him fight this monster called mental illness and the stigma that goes with it.
Thank you, Amanda. We have a great show today. It's about Bipolar 1. We've talked about this before with when we had our crossover series. But this Kyia Lewis called me, and she wants to talk about how she recovered and what her story is. So it's very interesting, and we're going to get right into it. Before we start the show, I just want to let you know I'm now on YouTube. I'll have the link in the description of this podcast, and we're on YouTube. So if you want to go there, check it out. Subscribe, that'll help me out. And also, making the announcement that I'm going to try to get a live show on June 12th to Saturday. Try to set up for the afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock. It'll be a live OTR, and I don't know what the subject will be yet, but I need to get a guest first who is willing to go live. So it should be exciting. Definitely tune into that when that happens, and I'll remind you again. Okay, let's go to the podcast. Hi, Kyia. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Do you mind telling the listener a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm from Northern California. I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 daughters. I recently became a grandma. I'll be 46 this year. And pretty much a stay-at-home. I am on Social Security disability due to my bipolar. So I'm home the majority of the time, finding little projects to do. I like to restore furniture and really artsy stuff for the most part.
Oh, that's good. Kyia has bipolar 1, and I was just going to ask her how it all started. Do you remember from birth, and basically how is it developed, and how is it now in your life?
Well, I was born in 1975, so you're probably familiar, 70s, 80s, even some of the early 90s. Kids that acted out, I think, finding out I had it definitely stemmed back from childhood. But back in those days, it was considered your child was ADHD or a product of something happening at home.
Right.
It wasn't actually looked at. So I was a very defiant child, got in trouble a lot. Everybody just thought I was unruly. It was after my second child that I really started having some issues of just a lot of anger coming on. And so I was about 27, I guess, when everything really started falling apart.
Okay. Do you think did you have any postpartum depression at all?
No, it wasn't really until my second daughter was about 2 or so.
Okay.
That I really, like I say, it was just an anger, and I was very productive. I was a well-paid realtor, so I was doing very well, very productive, but I was what we kind of call a very productive bipolar, with my depression and so forth. So it I fed off of it, is what I've learned.
Right. It's kind of an adrenaline rush that you might get with it, right?
Yes, very much so.
Right.
So when it all came on, it took probably about, I started seeing my regular primary care physician, and he was giving me some antidepressants, and we tried
How old
several.
were you then? Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. No, I was about 27.
Okay.
So at that time, he was giving me different antidepressants, and over a period, of course, it's always a struggle. Anyone that's on the medications know, and that's why a lot of
Yes.
people don't even like taking them. It takes so long to get diagnosed and then to find the right regimen of medications to get on. Um, so again, he was prescribing me different antidepressants, and it finally got to the point over about probably a year or so that he said, I think this is out of the realm of my expertise, and I think that you need to possibly talk with a psychiatrist. So at that point, that would have been in around about 2000, started pretty much in 2007, but I wasn't diagnosed until about 2009.
Okay.
So I went through about 2 years.
Well, I think that they didn't really call things bipolar 1. I don't know how long ago, but it's a
Right,
relatively new diagnosis.
right. So it was about in 2009, and I actually had a breakdown
Okay.
and
Could
had,
you uh,
I was hospitalized, yes.
could you describe what it was like, or you don't want to go into that?
How did it feel? Actually, I had things started going wrong, and I ended up actually with an opiate addiction.
Okay.
So, in all of that, of course, that definitely had to do with altering my mind. Marriage started falling apart. I just, I wasn't working anymore. Um, it felt my world just fell apart. My entire world. I feel like I lost everything, and I had a severe panic attack. And I don't even. And the weird thing is, most of the time when I've had a panic attack, um, I don't really know what ever led to it. There have been a few that I can relate that something stressful came on. And, I can now I'm much more in touch with myself and can feel those coming on. But whenever I was going through all this, I had a severe panic attack and I thought I was dying.
Is it a panic attack as far as like a heartbeat
Oh,
races?
yes.
Yeah.
The heartbeat, whenever I have a panic attack, for me, my experience is that my entire body I start to go numb and my
Oh,
body just starts to tingle. And I don't feel my face. My body just gets very contorted. A lot of times, if I have somebody near, I will have somebody has to like massage my feet and my hands because they will just cramp up.
wow.
So that's basically what happened. And I was home with my two children, and it scared the life out of me.
I understand.
So, yeah. So at that point is when the doctor said, let's go ahead and put you in the hospital and try to get you actually diagnosed and get you on the right regimen.
Hmm.
So I ended up being my first stint in the psychiatric hospital was for 45 days. And during that time, my husband served me with divorce papers.
Oh, no.
Um, and he was fighting for full custody of our daughter.
Were you having troubles before this, or was it solely because you went into the hospital and
Um,
he couldn't
I think
handle
there
it?
were some troubles before because going back with the opiates.
Oh, okay.
And luckily, I've been clean from that since 2013.
That's good.
Um, so, and I've gone down that whole road and everything. It's been a very long road.
Sounds like it.
Um, so yeah, going through all that and stuff. And of course, a lot of times people will describe a divorce as a death. And especially when you weren't ready for it and you feel it came out of nowhere.
Yes, I had a divorce in '94, and that was just like that.
Yes. And to me, I think that makes it much more traumatizing
Hmm.
and so much harder to get past and get
Hmm.
through and work through it because you're already going through your own issues, that you're trying to work through.
Hmm.
And then it makes it very hard and I understand some people can't deal with it, but timing was very bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it always is.
Yeah. Yeah. Timing's always bad. But, I mean, getting a call from my mother whenever I was in the hospital and just said that I just got papers served to me because I was in the hospital still.
That's terrible.
So, yes,
And did
it was
that
very.
make your condition worse? Or
I think it did.
Mhm.
Definitely it did.
Were you having
And
depression as well?
yes.
Okay.
So when I say I have bipolar 1, that there's so much that goes into that. And I have the mixed episodes is what I'm considered. So I go back and forth
So it's
during the
bipolar
day.
1, you would
Right.
consider it? Okay. Do you
Yeah.
have manic episodes of some
I do
type?
get manic episodes, and I will sometimes be depressed with the manic episode.
Okay. What are the manic
So,
episodes like? What do you do differently?
a lot of times when I'm manic, I just talk a lot faster. I'm up doing several different things, very scattered brained, or I can focus on one thing, but it's almost like you're on drugs.
Uh,
It is just, if you were to see somebody in a manic state, a lot of times you're thinking, what's wrong with them? I would be out doing yard work until 10 o'clock at night when I had to start being quiet for the neighbors, because I was just going, going, going. Very little sleep. When I'm manic, I don't need a lot of sleep. I still probably only sleep about 6 hours a night. Um, so a manic episode and stuff for me it's very, I always think I'm much more productive. And a lot of times people that are bipolar say they prefer to be in that manic stage, obviously, than be in the depressed, state.
right.
But again, mine goes back and forth, being that I have the mixed episodes. So I'm pretty much depressed all the time.
I mean, is it less when you're not in the episode? It's less depressing or pretty much the
Um,
same?
it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever I'm manic, the manic takes over more so. And you would just kind of recognize more of the manic that is going on with me. My depression, I think, is just something that's just always there. You know,
Okay.
I just have to look for. I do a lot of podcasts and a lot of different things, just trying to educate myself still about it because it is so new.
Right.
Um,
There's a person I had on the show called Brett Stevens,
mhm,
and episodes are called The Crossover. I did several. And he
okay.
had bipolar 1, but he had severe manic attacks where he thought God was talking to him. And he
Mhm.
remembered them because of some condition, and he wrote a book about it. It's called Crossover, if you ever want to look it up.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't, and for me, it's hard, and it's probably like this for a lot of people that, have something going on, a mental issue or something. But a lot of times with it, I don't see it. Like when I'm not on my meds or I'm run out and I might be off for a couple days, it's usually somebody close to me that says, "Have you been taking your meds?"
Uh-huh.
Because I don't really notice that I'm acting any different, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. What medication are you on, by the way?
I have taken so many different medications. I'm currently, and what has been working for me is the Vraylar.
Right. Is that new? I think,
Yes, it's a new medication out. I don't believe they have a generic for it at this point. Um, but I have been on Prozac and Depakote and Seroquel and just Latuda and Zoloft. Um, you name it, I've been on. The only thing I have never taken myself is the lithium. And
okay.
that's just because I'm very fearful of, side of it. All the medications are actually really harmful to your body. It's a
Yeah, I
hard.
take a lot of medication. Zoloft sounds like an antidepressant. That also helps bipolar.
It actually is an all-in-one. So
Oh,
rather than me take several different pills a day, I
right.
only have to take the one pill, and it's specifically for bipolar 1,
Okay.
um, with mixed episodes also.
Yeah, I
So
took that. I took almost every medicine that's out there, it seems.
yeah. So it's, for me, it's much easier. I only have to worry about taking one pill and not taking several pills, or some
Right.
in the morning, some at night. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So does that help you, or do you still feel depressed during the day?
Um, I don't know so much if I feel depressed. I think when you're on the medications, again, for me, it is something that
You get a
it
lot
takes
of,
a lot of filling out.
okay.
It kind of makes you a little flat.
All right. I don't necessarily experience that, but I did get help in this experimental drug called pramipixole,
Hmm.
and that gave me it took away my apathy. It gave me
Mm.
like new life. So I'm
Huh.
very grateful that I got it. But
Right.
I'm still depressed. I fight demons, is what I call it.
Hmm.
Little voices in your head.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
some days they're there, and then other days they're not. So
Right.
does that happen to you? You have to fight demons.
I definitely get those. I still have certain things that, I will see little figures still out of like somebody's there. I do have a hard time when I go to town, like by myself and different things. I'm always feeling watched.
Okay,
Um,
paranoia.
yeah, I get a lot of paranoia with certain things. I stay home a lot. I
Right.
just, I have my group of friends that kind of know me and know what is going on with me.
Uh-huh.
So I don't doesn't make me feel as awkward when I'm feeling awkward.
Do you go to counseling and groups at all?
I do a lot of just support groups and stuff online,
Okay.
and it is something that I definitely talk about. I don't shy away from it. I
Okay.
I, I try to talk to as many people as I can that are, I'm currently a friend of mine that I grew up with. Her son is having some difficulty and stuff, so I'm working with him right now, just trying to, stay positive and be uplifting. And as you know, when you're in a state of depression, a lot of times, especially a severe depression, I've gotten down to 85 pounds before
Oh,
and didn't get out of bed for 2 weeks. My mother would have to come over to help shower me.
right.
Um, so I've been there.
Yes,
um,
it sounds
I've gone to
terrible.
counseling. Yeah, I've gone to counseling and sat there and paid somebody just to sit and cry
Huh.
the entire time, not
I
even
shouldn't
talk, but
laugh,
it's
but
just,
I had experiences where I would wake up. See, during the week, I would be high on adrenaline
hmm.
from working because working was exciting, and I got high.
Right,
And then
right.
and then Saturday, I felt bad, and Sunday, I remember waking up and just crying for
Hmm.
absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I still have
So,
those days
so
too.
you come down, I think.
Right.
Do you,
Yes.
did you say you worked?
No, I don't work.
Okay, okay.
I'm
So,
I'm actually on disability due to my,
me too. I
yeah,
retired. I'm 62. I retired, and I
well,
applied
good for
for
you.
yeah, I applied for disability, and I got it. So
Yeah.
I was happy about that.
Yeah, me too. It didn't, luckily for me, it wasn't a huge, I've been on it since 2010, about
Okay.
2010, 2011.
So, what's your normal day like then?
My normal day is I get up, I straighten up, clean up the house. My daughter just recently had a baby, so I have a little grandson that's 4 months
Oh,
old.
congratulations.
Yeah, and thank you. And so she's over here about 4 days a week or so. I do live with my significant other.
Okay.
So, and he works, he's in and out. He's a contractor, so he's kind of in and out. And
Uh huh.
so just kind of doing that. And so my house has gotten really quiet. My kids have both moved out now.
How old are
So
your kids?
my kids are 20 and 24.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been used to, always having at least one of them with me. And now they're both out. So the house, like I said, has gotten really quiet and everything. And just kind of right now, I'm figuring out a new way of life, I guess I could say.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing a lot of hobbies. I do a lot of furniture refurbishment,
That's
and
good.
yeah, I do stuff like that on the side. And I'm more of a night person.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think
So,
I
but
think the depression gets better at night, at least for me.
yes, it does for me too.
Yeah.
I think so.
So I
Yeah.
hate to go to bed. Sometimes I don't. I stay up all night.
I
Uh,
know, it's like that's me. I feel like I'm gonna miss something. It makes me feel like a little kid sometimes, though.
yeah. Sure.
I get tired, but I'm thinking I don't want to go to bed.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's funny.
Yeah.
So, um, how often do you get really bad bouts of the depression? And is there something that triggers it?
I don't necessarily think there's anything that I've been able to relate to that, you know, brings it on per se. It's just different feelings. It's been a while since I have had a really severe downtime with it.
That's good.
I I try to, again, like I said, I try to stay very positive and surround myself with just positive things. I do little things like writing positivity quotes on my bathroom mirror, you
Okay.
know, so I see things like that.
Uh-huh.
I I listen to a lot of different podcasts, or I meditate a lot. I think it's myself really important to have some alone time,
Right.
to be with yourself and to really get to know yourself. I think that's something really important with these illnesses,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
is that you have to know yourself. I can now, whenever I have a panic attack, for instance, I'm able to, for the most part, I'm usually able just to calm myself down.
Okay, that's good.
And,
What do you do to calm yourself down? Just think,
I focus.
focus.
I focus on my breathing. I start focusing on my breathing. I will start just bending my feet and stuff up and down, and opening and closing my hands, just so I don't start getting the tension and closing up with that. Um,
Do you feel
I
that you're very anxious at the time you're having a panic attack? I mean, that might sound like a stupid question, but I just have anxiety attacks, very,
Right,
very bad anxiety. But I don't get the heartbeat. I don't get anything else wrong with my body.
right,
Uh,
yeah.
do you feel it's like a mixture of that and anxiety, or just
It's probably both.
okay?
And the last few that I have had, um, have been, nothing per se has brought it on.
Right.
Well, I should say, yeah, the last two that I have had, the one prior to that, my grandpa had passed, and so that kind of brought it on. And then this 2020, seem to have
Oh, it's
a lot
terrible.
of people pass. Yeah, so that was a last year has been a trying
From
year.
COVID or other reasons?
No, he lived a
Okay.
good life. He was
All right.
93, so he lived a really good life, and he's up with my grandma now, and so I'm happy
That's
for
good.
that.
Yeah.
But just and a lot of times it's weird, is they'll come on, the the attack will start to come on, and I don't know what is even bringing it on, which makes it hard to identify, because it's something obviously subconsciously that's going on.
So it doesn't always start with a manic state, or you consider the panic attack a manic state.
No, I don't consider it a manic state. I consider my manic states are whenever I'm just zooming all over, and I have a lot of OCD.
Okay. I have that
So,
too.
yeah.
I have
So
everything.
yeah, up and down, up and down. And that's bipolar and stuff a lot too. It's not just, with the moods. I always find it kind of strange whenever I'm filling out something and it has to do with it, and it'll have your bipolars and stuff, and then it'll have depression, anxiety, and all these things. Well, it's like I can literally go along and check every box,
Yeah.
because in the bipolar one, you have your anxiety,
Uh-huh.
you have your depression,
Yeah.
a lot of the OCD goes on.
Yeah. I also
Um,
have ADHD, which I contribute to a lot of my anxiety.
Probably.
You
Oh
don't
yeah.
have that, right?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't have that.
And dyslexia. So that's
Oh
that's a
goodness.
punch in the face. I think,
Yes.
like, I used to do documents at work and I wrote them well. It's just
Hmm.
that every other word was misspelled.
Oh yeah.
I'll just go there, the three there's, I'll never get that right. And there's
Yeah.
so many words I leave out sometimes. So I have to check my work probably 6, 7 times.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I have noticed with the bipolar, and I'm not sure. I do know that bipolar will start to, I've been hearing from a lot of people that experience the same thing, is that their memory starts to go.
Oh, yeah,
So like short term, long term
yeah,
things makes it very hard. I have had a doctor tell me before, well, if it's untreated, it can cause memory loss.
okay,
Well, I was never told that by anybody else, but mine's always been treated. I've been on my medications and so forth, and
right.
um so for me, it's like I said, it's been a long road. I have learned to cope with a lot and stuff, but again, I think a lot of that has just been a lot of techniques through years and years of counseling that I've gone through.
What,
um
when you were a child, were you unhappy as a child or not really?
no, not really. I remember being happy. There was a lot of trauma in the household. My
Yeah, that was
father
my
was an
next.
alcoholic.
Yeah, that was my next
My
question.
father was an alcoholic, yes, and there was lots of abuse between him and my mom. I was never, abused or anything, but didn't get along with my mom, so I guess there was
Did
possibly some
did she
abuse
take?
there.
Did your mom take anything, or it was just that she would yell a lot?
No, there was a lot of hitting
Oh,
and just verbal, emotional,
so you could
emotional
might
things.
want to add PTSD to all of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how badly would she hit you?
Oh, I would get hit with the end of a fly swatter, with the
Oh God.
cords of, your crock pots and stuff. Um,
So she
and
was
by the
kind of a loony in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my mother, to be honest with you, is undiagnosed with, you know,
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
not for me to say, but I think there's definitely just the growing.
My father had bipolar and he just lived with it, and my mother was a nervous wreck.
Right.
So I wound up getting anxiety, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't really. I'm like on the border of bipolar and regular depression.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but right now I'm taking medicine that really keeps me stable.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest problem is fighting those demons.
Right.
They come in and they talk to me, not literally. I don't hear voices, but they say, "Well, you can't do that. There's no way you can
Right.
do it." And like,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to have another breakdown, or something bad's going to happen, or yeah.
Right.
So,
Or
so that
you don't want to talk about certain things, I feel sometimes, because I don't want to go back to the hospital. I don't want to be away from my family.
right?
So there is a lot of that negative talk,
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
goes on. And I know I had went back to school to become a paralegal. And that was very challenging for me. And especially somebody that was very productive and just, made six figures a year. And I was very independent and in control of myself and my life. And then all of a sudden, and I've done contracts and stuff my entire life. And I'm getting into school, and none of this stuff it was just a blur.
So
Every
it was around when you were 27 or so that you had to go on disability, or a little bit
um
later.
I was in my 30s. So that was I was in my middle 30s when I went on to disability. But
Yeah,
since
that
then,
seems to be the time. I'm sorry that it comes around, and like I had
hmm
it. My worst attack came in when I was 33.
right,
I had a super duper anxiety depression. So that seems to be about the year. But I'm sorry. Go on. I think I interrupted you.
no, I'm
Okay.
enjoying listening to your story too.
Okay. That's good. Share stories.
um,
Uh, go ahead.
yeah, it's going from, like I said, what I was used to accomplishing and doing and everything, and then just feeling like I couldn't. It's very hard for me to retain things. When I'm
Yeah.
learning something out of a book or something, many times I
Um,
have to
uh,
reread things.
yeah. I'm the same way. But part of that is from dyslexia.
Right,
But also part is just that I don't remember what I just read.
right,
Short term memory is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in computers,
Mm.
and it just came a point where I couldn't do the computer work.
Right.
It was just too much memory problems.
Yeah.
I still knew the information and everything, but I was a high-paid consultant, and
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't do it.
And it's very
And,
hard. It's very
yeah,
hard when you have all that and you've accomplished so much in your life,
yeah. And
and
I also have a spinal cord injury, which
mm.
puts me in a walker outside. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm a mess. But it's not about me. It's about you. Uh, the listeners probably sick of hearing about my issues, but I like to talk to people, that have others
Right.
that I haven't experienced.
Right. So
So, between a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling these days?
I'm pretty happy these days. I would say I'm pretty happy. I would say I'm about a 7.
Okay, that's better. Okay, then being better. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
I mean,
Uh,
I constantly try to remind myself I don't really have anything that I should be unhappy about, and that's something that I always try to remind myself, and in my support groups and stuff, um, I always try to let people know, like, I understand, like, if you're going through a depressed state or something, but one thing that always worked for me was telling myself, okay, this is today, but tomorrow's tomorrow, and I'll be better tomorrow. Even if I wasn't better tomorrow, I
that's
might
what I
not,
do too.
yeah, it might not be better for a couple of weeks, but
There is a technique. I'm sorry.
it gives me something to look forward to, at least,
Yeah,
to
this
keep
is my
going.
HBD. I always cut people off. But there are techniques we talk about on the show that says when you do get a silent little voice telling you you're no good, whatever,
Hmm.
just change the channel
Right.
is what we like to say.
Yeah.
Change it to a positive thought, or go do something that's
Or go do
positive.
something. Yes.
Yeah, I had a fellow on the other day. He says, "I think I cured myself by just doing something I like whenever I get depressed."
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think that's important too.
Right. I think
Uh,
it's fair. I think it's important, yeah, to find something you enjoy, you know.
do you, do you think your children have any part of
Oh,
this?
yes. Yes.
Okay.
My oldest daughter has dissociative disorder,
Oh,
and she has also been diagnosed with bipolar. And
okay.
my youngest one does have a lot of anxiety.
Okay. Yeah, my kids also have some issues. My son has got an episode like mine, and my daughter and my other son are both filled with a lot of anxiety.
Hmm.
And my youngest is 30, my oldest is 37. So then I got one in the middle. But, uh, they're functioning and they cope with it.
Right.
Uh, some are on medicine, some are not.
Hmm.
And it's just one thing that I warn people about is that you got to look to your inheritance and see what's going on there.
Right.
And that may help you to help yourself.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
agree.
So now you're in a good way. So that's kind of a recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very stable. My living arrangement and everything is stable. My relationship is stable. My relationship with my kids and my parents, everything is good. I have one sister, so it's just her and I have an older sister.
Does she have any
She has
of it?
PTSD.
Okay. From
Yeah,
from being beat up. Yeah.
yeah.
That's awful.
Well, she didn't get that. I
Oh
got that.
no.
No,
Oh.
we have different fathers, and so for whatever reason,
Oh.
she was favored by my mother. And when my mom and dad would fight, my mom would take what she wanted to dish out to my dad on me.
Which is in itself a kind of abuse
Oh yeah.
by making somebody the special child.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting a lot of pressure on them.
Definitely.
Uh, yeah, so it's bad. But I'm glad that you're getting better. I hope that continues. I think sometimes in old age, even though you might lose your memory a little, I think you do get a little better as you grow, into the 50s and 60s and stuff.
I've noticed I'm a lot more patient now. I think a lot of things that have helped too is forgiveness.
Right.
I've had to, reconcile with my mom, which we've never not been apart over it or anything, or like had our relationship to where we never were in contact or anything like that. But as I got older, probably I want to say in my late 30s, I finally sat down with her and told her, because she, of course, denies a lot of different things and stuff. And so I remember sitting down and telling her, like, I understand you might not agree with what I'm about to say, but I need to say this because this is what it felt like for me as a child and what I seen and what I experienced. And it may not be your experience, but I need you to hear me. And I sat down and we had a long talk, and she didn't say anything, and she listened to me the entire time.
Well, that's good.
And so I think that was a very healing.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very healing experience.
My daughter, I said something really not good. I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't talked to me in a month.
Oh, goodness.
They have a new thing. They block you. If you do something wrong, they block you on the cell phone. It's got kind of a trend.
Yeah.
And so I'm blocked. I'm blocked out.
Oh, that's too bad. Life's too short.
That's what I say, but she's very stubborn, and she gets that from me.
Yeah.
And I really did say something horrible, and I was so sorry about it. I told her 100 times, and I don't know what'll happen. But,
right. Well, I wish you luck on that.
Yeah. That's great that you're feeling better. Is there anything you want to say to the audience that may be helpful to them, or?
I'd say I know it's hard and it's a long road, and it's doable though. It really is doable. If you I think apply yourself to it and are willing to go to get help for it and understand it's not something that's necessarily, it's not just wrong with you. It's not something wrong with you. It's something, you were born with this, or certain circumstances in life has triggered things in your life. And there's ways out there, and there's techniques and stuff that you can actually learn to help with that. Like, it doesn't have to be so bad, is what I would say. Just, and like you said, turn the channel. When you're hearing those things, I think that's a great analogy for that, is turn the channel.
Yeah. Well, the guy I talked to said, what radio stations don't you like? And I said, I don't like country. And he goes, well, you know what? What do you do when country music comes on? You shut it off or turn the channel, right? Mm-hmm. So just do the same thing for your thoughts. Right. You don't like them, and it works. Mm-hmm. It's hard.
It is hard.
It works, and it doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work, no. And I think having a good support system too.
True.
Having a very good support system and stuff. And, if you're at the stages that, especially if it's earlier on, or maybe if it's not early on, and, it's just it maybe a different level than mine, counseling, I think, it's great.
Right. And that's the first step, is counseling.
Yeah.
To see if you should go any further.
Exactly.
Unless it's just really horrible to begin with.
And, a lot of people I've noticed in a lot of groups that I've attended and stuff is a lot of people go, but they don't open up or talk.
No.
And I think that I wish that they would be able to open up, because it would help so much. It really does. And you're not alone.
Right.
You're definitely not alone. There's millions of us out there.
Yeah. And everything's going to be fine if you follow the steps.
Exactly. It's about working the steps.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. You've been a very good guest. I was happy to get you on.
Oh, well,
get your perspective on bipolar. I think it'll be helpful to the people out there that have bipolar and some that don't.
I hope so.
So I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
And
You too.
thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for letting me share.
Okay, that was Kyia Lewis. Very good guest. Unfortunately, she suffers from the bipolar 1, which a lot of you out there do. And I feel bad. It's very bad. But there is a way to recover. There is a way to get stable. So please do that. Don't forget, we're on YouTube, and we're going to have a live show on June 12th. So that would be really good. I don't know how long it'll go. Probably around 45 minutes. So mark your calendar for June 12th, probably in the afternoon. We're going to have it live. You get to see my ugly face, and we'll have a good time. Okay. I'm at overtherainbowbob@gmail.com. Overtherainbowbob, one word, @gmail.com. My Twitter site is overtherain1bow. Overtherain1bow. And go to OTR, Achieving Mental Health for Real, on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.